Hi guys, my name is Matthias, and today on Red Minerals we are out here near Budapest, and I'm headed to a couple of old thorium prospect sites from the 50s to see how the Raysid works out on the field. I also want to test out my new camera, which is a DJI Osmo Action 5, and I want to conduct a little bit of an experiment because I also have my professional grade X5C Plus dosimeter with me, and I want to see my accumulated dose at the end of this day after spending a couple hours at slightly radioactive hotspots. So let's get to it.
As I was heading to the hills near Budapest, I stopped at several sites marked for old prospect holes, but at the first couple spots I could not find anything. The view made up for it though. I arrived at the first promising spot after a few more kilometers.
So I'm about 100 meters from my destination, which is the shaft marked as NK5, and yeah, I have never been to this spot, so we'll see. I've been to a bunch of boreholes and shafts before in this area, but most of them yielded nothing, so not even an increase in background, but I really hope that it will be different this time. I should go into the left soon, but this brush really looks awful, I'm not gonna lie. But here it is anyways. Maybe there's an opening I can use.
Movement in this heavy brush was pretty tough, but near this fallen tree I found my first hotspots.
I see a pile of rocks there, which can be a good sign. Maybe this is just the tree, I'm not sure, but nope, it's not the tree. Nice. So I'm close to the NK5 shaft, which means I have to break out the Raysid. The ultimate radiation protection equipment it's always gonna be plastic bags and rubber bands. Trust the system, boys.
I did not want to dig or search straight away, but instead I mapped about 3 or 4 hotspots about 50 centimeters wide.
91 microsievert per hour. It's a good sign if it's localized, because of course it's next to a huge freaking tree, so I can't find anything.
I soon realized that the shaft I was looking for is nowhere to be found. Instead, what I stumbled upon was a natural outcrop where the thorium deposit surfaced.
This is a natural outcrop, it looks like. So these rocks are on the surface by default.
Still, I went ahead and tried my luck at the most promising spots. My experience with this area told me that most of the time the thorium is deposited in the red clay in the soil, instead of mineralization on individual handbases that I can easily dig out.
There's these very small rocks like this. Well, not really anything, I think. No real big chunks here. Yeah, I'm reaching 2 microsieverts almost down here. Yeah, thorium. It's pretty crazy that I can do a gamma spec out here in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, it's increasing, definitely, but it's way too deep. Or it's just sand, I think. Yeah.
I assumed that this was it and the shaft was buried in the past 60 plus years. Later it turned out that I was badly mistaken. But before realizing this, I headed back to a spot I knew well enough to be sure to find something there.
So right now I'm approaching the old spot, so to speak, which is a huge dump from a survey edit, and next to it there's a survey trench, and I found a couple pieces there. I don't expect to find any today, and I really don't want to try because it's very cold and muddy, so it's pretty much no use to dig here.
You might recognize this spot from my previous video taken here during summer. The place sure changed a lot since I was last here.
Raysid is getting excited. That pile down there looks kind of promising. And since there's no vegetation right now, because it's winter, we can get a better look at the prospect hole itself. And what they excavated went out here.
At the top of the pile, I just took some measurements because I really did not want to dig in this snowy, muddy terrain, and I knew I would probably find nothing.
2000 CPS, 7 microsieverts per hour. And here it's probably more. Yeah, 8 microsieverts. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of thorium material here. Let's see how quickly does the Raysid do a spec. Yeah, thorium.
Instead of digging at the top, I focused on the area below the pile, where I was hoping to find handpieces washed out from the main dump. During the summer, I could not see the pile of rocks accumulating at the bottom from all the vegetation around. And sure enough, I soon found my first piece below the dump.
So yeah, my theory kind of worked. I found a piece. Doesn't look like much. I will have to clean this up. That's a alright specimen, 1.5 on this side and 2 on the other. So it's a 2 microsievert rock off the ground in Hungary, which is interesting to say the least. I'm happy that I found something, and I would never find this piece with the Radiacode, I think, or at least not this fast.
The next piece followed almost instantly.
Looks like there's more. That was fast. It's a huge piece. I'm not gonna take this home, but I can at least check what it is. And it's not as potent, I think, as the other one. Yeah, it's about a 1 microsievert rock.
Afterwards, I found several other pieces lying around.
Is this one? It looks like it would break there. and maybe reveal a layer. I see there's also a piece. It's interesting. That was fast. So, which piece is the active one? Let's see.
This specimen shows quite well how thorium mainly occurs here. It usually fills the cracks of the dolomite and limestone, along with the effects of some hydrothermal forces also visible in this area.
Not this one, but this one. Yeah. That's one mark Seward. And right where I broke it in here. Yeah. Interesting. Nothing special, but interesting nonetheless. Ooh, that's a sound I like to hear. Unfortunately this guy is too big, but he's spicy. He's a spicy boy. 2 microsieverts. Yeah, maybe even more. Can I get that 3? Can I get a 3? No. Definitely the usual composition, as we can see. Trademark reddish hue of thorium. I'm gonna put this here for some guy who comes here, maybe.
As I was searching for more pieces, I heard someone come up from behind. It was a forest ranger. I explained to him what I was doing and he was very surprised and interested at the same time. Turns out they have been guessing for years what this place might be, along with several other trenches and pits, and I finally gave them the answer. As we were talking, the ranger mentioned an even bigger site with a deep pit, and it turned out that it was the first spot I went to, but my coordinates were off by a few meters. He explained to me where it exactly was, so I headed back once again.
This looks like a dump of something. Yeah, there it is. I found it. Holy.
As I arrived at the site, I saw this huge pit about 6 meters deep with a maze of tailings dumps all over the place with radioactive hotspots everywhere.
This is crazy.
The problem was, I had about 1 hour before sunset and I was out in the middle of nowhere. I was determined to map as much of the area as I possibly could before doing some digging at the best spots.
That dump is huge.
Finding this place also meant that the hotspots I initially found nearby before exploring the shaft itself were probably not surveyed beforehand by anyone other than me.
Three microsievers.
A few minutes later, I found the most promising hotspot of my trip.
Ambient background is 2 microsievers right now. Four microsievers. Five. Six. Is this rock here?
The area was huge and the clock was ticking.
This is amazing. The only bad thing is that it's getting dark soon, so I have to leave pretty much in the next couple minutes, but I'll be damned if I don't scout this place completely before I do so.
I started out with a place where I could measure up to 8 microsieverts per hour on the surface.
It's this rock, right? Yeah. Is the underside of this rock. But it's actually not, because it's still in there. It's in that direction. But where? It's this. Yeah, I'm definitely closer because here it's freaking 15.
After spending a lot of time digging, I was sure that my readings of 13 to 15 microsieverts per hour come from a large mass of smaller dose rate rocks.
Yeah, I mean, these are all hot, and it's just a mass of these 3-4 microsievert rocks that's making up this hole. So that's it, probably.
By that point, I desperately wanted some more time, but I simply had to go home if I did not want to spend the night at the forest.
So, as usual, I went a bit overboard with this because it's getting dark, it's extremely cold, and I still have about 4 or 5 miles to go until I reach a road with a bus station, because I'm in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, but it was worth it. I gotta say though, the view from here is amazing, even in this crappy weather. So all in all, I feel great.
Stay tuned to see the close-up photos and videos of my finds at the end, and see you in the next one. The first specimen I found had some surprises, because I found this cluster of green stuff on it, and to be honest, I have absolutely zero idea what they might be. I am hesitant to identify them, because it could even be just moss, although these pictures were taken after a day of rinsing with soap water and a good rub with a toothbrush. I also tested the spot with a needle, so I am really confident that this is something else. They are not UV reactive, but the area they are in is perhaps the most radioactive area of the rock. Let me know what you think in the comments.